Yeah, I think it's been, obviously today's the first day we have everybody back in from international break, minus one player, Xavier Valdez. So it's exciting to get everybody finally back. The week before and this week, still been able to get good work in. A lot of that early part of the week was focusing on ourselves and trying to improve certain areas that we want to continue to refine as we resume play. And now obviously between starting yesterday through today and through the end of the week, all focus will be on Cincinnati, who again a really well coached team, a battle tested team through years. A team that's got great balance in the attack and also in the back. And so I think we expect a really competitive game between two good teams.
Thanks, Coach. We'll start with Jacob down the line. Go, Jacob.
BJ, I guess what have been maybe, the biggest areas of emphasis in training over the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think reinforcing a lot of the things that we do well. We want to be decisive in the final third in the penalty box, continue to try to create high-quality goal-scoring chances. We want to be compact and, knowing, having clarity on when we want to build pressure together, and then obviously being really tough to play against in our own penalty box. So for us, it's about just being, again, refining the things that have made us a good team, and I think that, if we continue to do well, will continue to keep us as a good team.
Last year this time, you were coming out of another international break and you won, your first 2 matches here with Nashville SC, and then you went on to get a point against FC Cincinnati, a pretty strong start out of that break. I guess, what kind of, will enable you to do maybe a similar thing this time around?
I mean, for us, I think we're just preparing for what Cincinnati's going to pose. It's a team, again, like I said, has made some acquisitions kind of through the summer window that, we haven't seen yet live. So doing the best we can to prepare using our process that we do. And, I think there's a level of excitement in the group to get restarted here, I'm sure, for everybody. And so, again, I think that's what we look to carry into this match.
Just looking back at some of the recent performances where maybe the result didn't quite reflect the actual performance on the field, what are some kind of key takeaways that you've had from those matches, and maybe what are some things you liked from how you guys played and some areas that you also want to kind of correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big takeaway from a lot of those matches is as you get down to this part of the season, like every phase matters, whether it's defending set pieces, attacking set pieces, being able to execute high pressing, whatever it is, everything gets ramped up a little bit. And for us, that's why the focus is on, kind of sticking to the way we do things, the way we prepare, the way we train, and being as good at it as we can. That's what we really want to do, is continue to get on the rise here and improve as the sort of last 5 regular season games go. And I think for us, it's again, being decisive in all of our phases is when we're at our best.
And then, obviously, I know you're familiar with Pat, just from the Union, but it feels like Cincinnati, I don't have the number in front of me, but their record in 1-goal games is kind of just ridiculous, and they're able to just make life really difficult for opponents. What do you think they do well that kind of allows them to hold on to leads and just make things hard?
Yeah, I mean, I think first you mentioned Pat, like his leadership, his experience. He's a winner, right? And he's been a winner in his career. The staff that he has are winners, and he's created a winning team there. So I think for when you look at that, like that's a culture. There's a demand, there's an expectation from that, and so it's not a surprise that this is a team that's made long runs in I would say has not only do they make long runs in playoffs, but like seasons. They've stacked seasons together, and I'm sure that experience from them and the leadership that Pat has will transcend through into their last 5 games here. But they do a really good job of having a really balanced team. You can see very clearly the profiles that they look for, and they're able to get and how they want to play, and they're very consistent in what they do.
Was it good to have like a little break in between? Some of the guys get a little rested up?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point of the season, there's always, having a break. Unfortunately, we're in a position where we're a club that wants to support guys with national teams, and we search those out, and we're proud of the players that left to go represent their country. That's something that's great and something that we pride ourselves on here, whether it's from youth players like Chris Applewhite, and I mean, the U20 isn't really, I guess it's considered a youth team, but it's a lot of pro soccer players, same with Chris. But whether it's from 19-year-old going to camps all the way up to players playing World Cup qualifying. So yes, it's good the guys get rest. Yes, they have that opportunity, but there does become a point where you're itching to get back and get the group working, and I think we found that right balance.
We'll go to John Glennon on Zoom.
Hey BJ, I know you guys are obviously focused in on each game here, but wondering if you could kind of indulge me in a potential look down the line here a little bit. Obviously, you guys are in contention for the 3 titles here this season, and I'm just interested in your thoughts on how significant a step it would be for this franchise in general to be the first major pro sports team, potentially in Nashville to win a title.
Yeah, I mean, that's not something that we hide from, John. Of course, what our week and the way we prepare is that we're prepared for Cincinnati, but that all of our preparation for the whole season is to match sort of the ambition of this club, which is to pursue trophies. That's the business that we are in. This season, our opportunity is to potentially win 3 trophies. That's what we can play for, and that's what we want to do. And this club is ambitious, but at the same time, our ambition has been rooted in being uniquely Nashville. And what I would say is being a team that represents what Nashville is, and not only Nashville, but the entire state of Tennessee. And I think it's a goal that our guys have set out for. It's aligned with the entire club, and I know that we're going to pursue it as aggressively as we can.
Or maybe just a similar type follow, maybe for soccer in general, and kind of a city where soccer roots don't necessarily run deep. Same sort of question. What would kind of claiming a title mean for the growth, do you think, of soccer here?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're really proud of the fan support that we get here in Nashville, not only just at the games when you can see Geodis Park becoming lit up with excitement, but even just around the town. The amount of stickers and license plates and logos I see in the bars, you can feel that fan support and the community support. And I think, I think the first part is if you get that trophy, there's that validation to the existing fan base. And then, of course, part of our responsibilities in this city, playing soccer, being involved in soccer, is to grow the game as much as we can. And, if there's some fans that are waiting for us to win to jump on as our support, then we'll welcome them with open arms.
We'll go to Valère.
Hey BJ, just a couple of moves happening this week. Jordan Knight was just signed to the first team, and then Matt Corcoran was recalled. Were these 2 moves made specifically with the Open Cup in mind, or was there any sort of reasoning behind them?
I would no. These are more, I would say, continue to be long-term moves for the club. Again, 2 younger players. We thought it was important for Matt to continue to get game minutes. We've got a really good midfield, so it was just an opportunity for him to continue to get game minutes, and before he was to leave for the U20 camp. And then Jordan Knight is just another player that we're super proud and to be able to sign to the first team, a guy who has put in a lot of time and really good performances down in Huntsville. And once again, what I would say is when we talk about doing what we say we're going to do moment, this is just another one of those moments, of course, this season that you have an opportunity down in Huntsville. That's a proving ground for our first team, and he's done a great job. He's been rewarded, and he's earned a first team contract, and it highlights the club here. Whether it's Nashville, Huntsville, our academy, the alignment that we do, and pushing those players that deserve it through that pathway.
And then just on Cincinnati, last time you guys played penalty kick that decided the game that was otherwise even. Do you draw anything from that game, or it's just been too long for you to even get anything to help you with this game?
No, I think there's opportunities to learn from when you play the same opponent. So that's certainly part of what we would do, is review that game again, leading into this preparation. But at the same time, you know, they're a different team than when they played us, and we're a different team when they played, whether that's through personnel or just evolving and growing as teams. But it's still definitely, I would say, definitely part of that preparation plan.
All right, thanks so much, Coach. Thanks, guys. We'll be right back with Dan.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah. Obviously, each team has had their own sort of unique schedule and pattern to this break in this period of time, or the month of August. But for us, we know what it's looked like. We knew that this was going to be a break, and then we were going to move into this week, which is 2 awesome opportunities for us in league play and in Open Cup. And just progressing and continue to do what we do. Nothing really changes for us. Obviously, we're aware of how the month of August felt internally, aside from results, and we know that there's some things that we need to continue to address and improve on. But big picture, we're just happy to get off to a good start as it pertains to the last push of the year before playoffs, knowing that Cincinnati is a team that we know is in the thick of where we want to be and where we are right now. So that's going to be a great matchup, playing in a fun environment, then to come home against Philadelphia, another team that's in a similar vein, and hopefully we could, put together another performance that, extends our time in the Cup. So that's something that we're focused on, obviously, but it's one thing at a time and go from there.
Thanks, Dan. Go, Jacob.
Yeah, Dan, your availability has been, one of your hallmarks through your career. I believe you had started every single MLS game before August. I guess, how frustrating was it with that in mind, just to, suddenly miss a month with injury, and I guess especially since you lost, 3 or 4 games that month as well?
Yeah, it sucks. Part of the game, part of the life, part of the job, obviously. Any player will tell you that being hurt sucks. It's the worst thing. I experienced it earlier in my career a little bit. I think that was more of dealing with the college to pro schedule versus getting my legs underneath me and knowing what it takes to be available and compete for a full pro season. So, clean bill of health has been something I focused on a lot, trying to keep my body in a good spot. Stuff happens, obviously, anyone will tell you, but feel great now. Trying to look at the silver lining that it's a little time off my feet, or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it sucks. It's never fun to watch the team compete. I think anyone will tell you it's great when the team wins, but it's also not fun to be on the sideline when the team's winning. You want to be involved. So really looking forward to being back, being available, being able to help the team again and continue to improve my game and the guys around me, and hope that we can start to put something together that's going to be special. We've laid the groundwork for that, and it's just about executing now.
And you're in the mix for not just 1 trophy this year, but 3. I guess how do you as a team balance prioritizing the U.S. Open Cup, but also the Supporters Shield race, and then not just the Supporters Shield, but making sure you're in the best position for the playoffs if they come?
Right. It's a good question, and thankfully, as a player, I don't have to worry about that at all. I leave that to the powers that be that sort of determine how we navigate that exactly. But as one of the guys that's being tasked to put on the shirt and roll out there, anytime you do, it's super simple. Just win the game and try to play and perform to your own individual standards and to uphold your role as far as how the group competes. So being able to accomplish that is really the main focus, no matter what the format, the tournament, the context. Everything stays the same. We want to play like Nashville. We want to continue to up the ante as it pertains to that. But as a player, just really excited to be in the mix. Like you said, a lot of really cool, exciting accomplishments are still ahead of us, and we're in the mix for. I don't think we'll get there by doing anything different than what we've been doing. Just fine-tuning it and making sure that we're confident come a really important and fun time of the season.
Ben?
Yeah, kind of similar to what Jacob just asked. Obviously, it's a 2 huge MLS fixtures kind of at the top of the table, and then an Open Cup semifinal.
Yeah.
Feels like a pretty pivotal week, and there's kind of a narrative going around and I guess myself and others in the media are responsible for that, but just how important of a week it is for you guys. How do you kind of balance knowing the importance of these 3 games while also kind of trying to maintain focus on just preparing for the next game and staying process-oriented?
Yeah. I don't know the extent to which a lot of guys are involved in like reading a ton of stuff and being aware of it. Obviously, my mom sends me articles too, so like I get it. Everyone, it's unavoidable. But at the end of the day, it is really simple for us internally. Just focus on what we're doing. Our daily preparation and execution of training is really straightforward. There's nuance attached to who we're playing, the tournament, the next fixture, obviously. But as far as the big picture things and how you navigate a congested schedule that has a lot of stuff on the line. Of course, it's a pivotal week. That's not lost on anyone. But I don't think we have to reinvent the wheel or really get ahead of ourselves in terms of how we're going to accomplish those things. It'd be one thing if we've been trying to dig a season out, kind of what it felt like last year at times, but I think this is a different animal. We're operating a little bit differently, and I think that shows. And I think it's just about having trust in that process and knowing that we've had a good season so far, but there's still a lot of room for improvement, and to take pride in that and know that moving forward we have a lot to play for.
And then just looking back at the last couple of games, obviously you haven't played as much as you have for the bulk of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like there's an element of performances being better than some of the results. Do you feel like that's fair? And kind of looking back at how the game's played out, what do you think were some positives that you guys can take and try to carry forward?
For sure. I think the clearest and easiest positive to take away from the group is that there were, guys that missed time like myself or that had to be rotated, whatever it was. And we have guys step up in natural positions, unnatural positions, and really do a good job. That's a testament to how this team operates and how we train day to day. And guys are really locked in and not surprised when their chance comes. They're able to step in and take it. Otherwise, I think, sure, the results are disappointing. I don't think anyone would say that we played a great game in any of those games because we know that when we play great, we typically win the game. So I don't think that's an illusion that we're under. But I do think when you look at the details and you break it down, the metrics, the data that we use to evaluate our own play, I think there was still a lot of good within these games. I don't think we were extremely far off the mark in a lot of those metrics, but at the same time, it's an old adage of the game, you got to be good in both boxes. It doesn't really matter what happens in between. And so I think finding that balance is important. I think the Atlanta game is a perfect example of that. Just, playing a reasonably good game, limiting an opponent, defensive set piece, having chances to score and not converting. It can be as simple as that sometimes. And that's the beauty of the sport, beauty of the game, and why we have to focus more in terms of being killers in the box and just making sure that we're able to lock things down defensively on set pieces. That's been one of our strengths this year. I think to lean into that again and just know that there's we don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater because the results didn't go our way. There's certainly things that we should have done a little bit better and to a higher caliber, but we're still a very good team, and we know that we would trade a reasonably okay performance with a not great result for fine-tuning it come October and November, December. So that's really what our mindset is, and we try to learn from every game regardless if it's a win. We learned a lot from that Orlando game, and that was a dominant performance. So every game, learn something, move on, get better, and that's the process.
Dan, what have you seen on the Cincinnati team?
Well, credit to them. They've been consistent for a number of years now in terms of their place in the Eastern Conference and within the league. That's not by mistake. They have consistency in their lineup, the way they play. They've added guys, having Acosta leave and then Evander show up, who's been special and a lot of fun to watch. Not as fun to play against, but that's why you get good players, and that's why teams don't like playing against us either. So it's just a great opportunity. I mean, they're a good team. Like I said, consistency. They don't give up a ton of set piece goals, I don't think. I think they're pretty good at getting first contact on their offensive set pieces, which is something they're pretty good at. They have good center backs. They have good center mids that work hard. They have an attacking group that's pretty fluid and pretty talented, as you can see. But any given Saturday, any given Tuesday, whatever it is, I think we know we have a lot of guys that have been in that environment and played against that caliber of a team in their home stadium. And I'm really proud and really excited to do it with this group. I think it's a great time in the season to have that experience. And more importantly, just to go there with no other expectation other than to get 3 points.
John on the Zoom.
Hey, Daniel. I'm trying to take I guess a little peek into the potential future for you guys here. Obviously you guys are still in contention for 3 titles. I wonder, especially for someone like you who's been around, the whole time, how much would it mean, do you think, for this franchise, for you guys to become the first major pro sports team to land a title, or championship for Nashville?
It's incredibly special. Like you said, I think my personal kind of zest for that and passion for that is matched by the city, I would imagine. I think, although I wasn't fully aware of that trophy being, representing the first one in a professional franchise in the state is pretty remarkable. That's new information to me as of this year. But I think the excitement and the passion within the market was something that obviously MLS and the ownership identified as being a great match for this league. And knowing that in my career, coming here and starting a new franchise in the MLS era was a very important opportunity for me. And, globally, I don't think a lot of players have that opportunity in their career to start and to be the first of a core group to bring professional soccer in a major league to a market like Nashville. So that's something I take an immense amount of pride in. But at the same time, it's just the progression. I'm really happy we're having this conversation after all these years, that we're talking about trophies. We're talking about being in the running for 3 different trophies, and the magnitude of that is obviously really fun and exciting to think about. We're not just happy to participate or to be a part of a team or an organization that's overachieving expectations. I think that got old for everyone. I think it's more about...
Maybe one quick follow on that topic. I think, if I'm reading correctly, I think you were on the team with Toronto that reached the final in 2016, MLS final. And just wondered, I know it was a while ago, but maybe just simply reaching the final that year, I wonder what that did for a market, that probably didn't have a deep soccer tradition.
Sure, it was huge. Definitely. I think in 2014 when I was drafted there, it was the same year with Michael Bradley, Jermaine Defoe, Dwayne De Rosario, Julio Cesar was the goalie. I think it was the most exciting, quote-unquote, offseason in MLS history other than the Beckham stuff. It was just representative of a transformation of a club within a market that, like you said, hadn't had a ton of success in the league yet. So that was pretty special. That's an experience that I, cherish, just to see how we were able to progress and make it to the final. And the next year, the club was able to win the championship. So that being said, sure, there are some similarities here relative to the market, and for us to sort of come up and basically capitalize on how much love and attention we do get in this market, which is Nashville. But technically speaking, these are 2 very different teams and organizations and how they function. And sure, there are some things that hold true and are representative of championship teams and getting that far in the postseason, but we have a totally different version of it here, and I think, quite honestly, it's a little bit more sustainable what we've built here and what we're working towards. So I'm really excited to be able to compete at that level and to know that we have a group to do it.
Blair?
Yeah, Dan, just on Cincinnati, you've obviously played against them a good bit with Nashville SC. There's been a few different matches. You were on the pitch for the 6-3 match a few years back in Cincinnati. Some of the Nashville fans view this as a rivalry, maybe some Cincinnati fans. For the players, for you, is it any different playing Cincinnati, or is it just another Eastern Conference game for you coming up?
I think the rivalry stuff is more of an external thing. I understand it. I don't know if we're certainly aware of it as players, but this will sound bad, but I don't like any team that we play against. I think that helps. But at the end of the day, it's a team that is in and around us in the standings. We know that they've been sort of a beacon of consistency and high performance within the league and the conference over the last few years. That's something that we acknowledge, we respect, but we also know that we're part of that conversation as well, and we're just really excited to compete against them. Yeah, there's some history there in terms of exciting games, home, away, but the most recent memory I have is the game we played at home against them earlier this year, which a lot of us are still sick about. So that's a tough one, just as our last data point. But it's encouraging knowing, how we've been able to play the second iteration of facing a team in our conference this year. I think we have a pretty good record, but this, for all other intents and purposes, is a one-off, and we're playing against a team that we're hoping we get to see in some way, shape, or form in the postseason. And we know this is an environment that we may have to come to. They may have to come here, whatever it is. It'll be two good teams competing, and that's what we're here to do. So it's exciting.
And on a lighter note, recently, Dax McCarty was on a local soccer show, and he was asked if there was one former teammate that would get him an out in baseball. He had to pick one, and he picked you based on your performance in the end of year Nashville SC party game, splash ball. So any comments on that? Anything for Dax there?
So the beginning part, he's saying I'm a good baseball player. Is that what I'm gathering?
He's saying you're a pretty athletic guy.
Okay. All right, that's fair. I'll take that. Thank you, Dax. Certainly more athletic than him. I'll end it with that. Not the highest bar. I threw a frisbee to him one time, and he has a scar to show for it. Looks like the Harry Potter thing on his chest. That's a mailbox, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. I played a lot of sports. Dax didn't. Seemed like he specialized pretty early, and he has to face the consequences of that. So I appreciate the comment, though, Daxie.
All right, thanks so much, Dan. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Virtually.